Hello there folks, welcome to another Train Sim World 2 video today. The first portion of the Rush Hour Season Pass is what we're going to be taking a look at. We are on, I think they're calling it Boston Sprinter or something like that, but it's essentially the Providence line from Boston to Providence. Boston, Massachusetts to Providence, Rhode Island. Not too far away. I think it's like almost 50 miles or something like that. You're going to get the Stoughton Branch as well. Anyway, I went ahead and opted for the season pass in itself. It's essentially $39.99, and you get 3 routes. So this is the first of the 3 routes. The other 2 will come at a later date, although they initially said they were going to come at the same time. Tisk, tisk. But, you know, stuff happens. Or you can buy it individually. I think if you buy it individually right now, it's about $29.99. So you pay $10 more, you're going to get more routes later. Whatever, you know, tickles your pickle, floats your boat. Do what you're going to do. Anyway, if you're here for the first time, I'd like to say a very warm welcome to the channel. If you're not new here, welcome back. Hello again. I'd also like to preface that this is not going to be your typical video that you may see a lot of, which I seem to see a lot of people just hopping in a train and just, you know, going down the tracks. I'm going to look all over the map. I'm going to get in there in the nitty-gritty. It's not going to be just hopping in the train and going somewhere. Like, there will be a little bit of that, but I'm going to look around. I don't want to call this a first look. I don't want to call it a review. It's just, I don't know what to call it. But anyway, so if you're not into stuff like this, I'm sure there's tons of other videos out there. You can go and check those out. I'll be adding to those in the coming days and weeks. But anyway, let's get started. So this is the first tutorial. This is in Boston, aka Beantown. This is South Station. So this is the first tutorial. And another thing, since these are tutorials, I'm not going to be trying to look at the stock or anything like that too in depth. I'm going to try and just run through these. You know what I need to know, do what I need to do, and then we'll hop into some more in-depth stuff here in a minute.
This is one of the many interactions.
Look at that belt, son.
But not all of them
damn,
are
boy.
easy to find as this one.
Shiny shirt too. It's interesting clothing choice. All right. So anyway, yeah, like I said, Rush Hour. This is the first of Rush Hour. It is out today. What is it? August the 19th. And it's rolling out to pretty much everybody: PS4, Xbox, PC. I think Epic Games Store now. So yeah, should be available. If it's not, it will be in the coming hours. But this is the first of Rush Hour. There's going to be the Brighton Main Line, which is in the United Kingdom, and the Dresden to Riesa, I think, in Germany. So that's there's going to be 2 more coming. Don't know when. They haven't really said that yet. We'll hop in here. Now, of course, we are not, as Train Sim World players, we are, this is not the first time we've seen the ACS 64, but they essentially rebuilt it for the most part, and it has got all new sounds. I think it's got some newer physics, but they kind of took the original one and built upon it, built outward, if you will.
You can pause the experience at any point and review previous...
Yippers.
A heads-up display has appeared on the right-hand
I think this is Matt Pedalson's wife, by the way. I know she's American, and it's it's cool they actually have an American linguist doing an American route.
The white needle shows current speed. The red marker indicates the maximum permitted speed.
Yippa-dippa-doo. We gotta go through this.
This
Sorry.
is the direction display. An arrow will indicate forward, reverse, and neutral directions.
Yep. Yep.
This is the power display. A number will indicate what position the power control is in. These are brake indicators. They show the state of the various brake systems, allowing independent management of them. In the top right are the signal and speed limit displays.
I don't have those on.
Indication of what is approaching and a
I like
countdown
very
distance
little
to
as
when it will
possible
come
on the
into
screen,
effect.
personally.
Some of these displays can be hidden via the settings menu for a more challenging experience.
Bam! She knows what's up. Alright, let's go. So this isn't really a tutorial. I guess this is kind of like a route tutorial. But anyway, for those that are not aware, this is essentially a link between the two major cities, Boston and Providence. Boston, Massachusetts, Providence, Rhode Island. I think it's about 50 miles. It's like 40-something. You're going to get the Amtrak ACS 64 and Amfleet cars, Cafe car as well. And you're going to get the MBTA, or as they call it, the T F40PH-3C. Now, the C...
The Boston to Providence line stretches for just over 50 miles and connects the state capitals of Massachusetts and Rhode Island.
She took the reins on the monologue.
This locomotive is an ACS 64 designed by Siemens Mobility. Also known as the Amtrak City Sprinter, it is capable of a top speed of 125 miles per hour.
You dang right.
Train Sim World 2 allows you to ride and drive from a selection of camera views. Let's take a look now while exploring this train.
Anyway, ACS 64. I'll try and go over the trains as we are in them. Beautiful train. Always liked the 64. There's... I think in like 2010 they replaced all the AEM 7s. They had like over 8,000 max horsepower. The 64 in the numbers for 6,400 kilowatts for the power they produce. They can run on 3 different AC or alternating current voltage. Let's see, I'm trying to think. They have a max speed of 135. They can actually do a $135, but they're kind of relegated to 125 for U.S. operation. Number 600 was the OG ACS 64. So this thing right here was the... Well, not this one, but the number 600 was the very first ACS 64, and I think it got its feet wet in Boston, which is kind of cool.
Here, so let's take a look at what else there is to enjoy.
I think it was like 2014 or something like that.
Welcome to Boston, Massachusetts, a historic city located in the heart of New England, famous for its sports teams, art, universities, and colleges.
And
You
beans.
can experience the fastest rail
And the
line
Boston
in
Tea
America,
Party.
from modern suburbia to sprawling countryside, linking the
Mark
state capitals
Wahlberg.
of Massachusetts and Rhode Island, in command of both Amtrak regional and MBTA commuter operations. Along the way, be sure to place route maps, restock fire
Can I skip
extinguishers,
this?
put up advertisements, and prop up snow shovels. Choose Amtrak Express services or MBTA regional commuter services through the New England suburbs. This is the Northeast Corridor, Boston to Providence.
Yes, it is. So anyway, you're going to get the ACS 64, which I just mentioned. You're going to get the Amfleet 1 coaches, which we had behind us here in the tutorial, and cafe cars. I think they have about 70 of these. Amtrak had or has 70 of these ACS 64s, so they're all over the place. They're on all up and down the Northeast Corridor. And you're going to get the EMD F40PH-3C, which is what I was trying to dote on earlier. Now, the 3C means it's got a Cummins head-in power unit generator for powering the cars that it pulls, right? Some of the other ones you'll see, say, like Dash 2 Cat. That means it's got a Caterpillar head-in power unit. So this one should be slightly different. It should sound different. We'll go ahead and continue on here. I'll try and limit my blabbing. That's actually the next one here. But anyway, these are essentially rebuilds right here. MPI, they used to be Morrison Knudsen. They are rebuilding all these, all the old F40s, the Dash 2s, all that. They're rebuilding all of them, making them into 3C. Now, from what I know, the south side of Boston down to Providence, a ton of these aren't used, okay? Especially the cars that come with this rendition of the line. It's usually double deckers, and every now and then you'll see these old Messerschmitt cars, which is what they are. Yes, it's the same company that made German airplanes. You'll kind of see them mixed, but it's mainly double deckers, so it's kind of funny they went for the singles. It's not rare for them to run down. They do, but it's more double decker from what I know. Anyway, let us continue. We'll dive deeper into the route here. We get through these. But the F40 essentially replaced the the super crappy SDP-40F, which was like, you know, they tried to have the first long distance engine from EMD for passenger services.
Welcome to driver training. Today you will be taken through the operation of an F40PH-3C in MBTA livery.
Now, honestly,
During this brief introduction, we will go through the critical driving controls and passenger operations.
this is what I'm here for.
When you are ready, climb aboard to get started.
F40s are awesome. I love them, whatever they may be. Even the old ones, like the OG, just F40s. You know, the ACS64, they're cool, but this right here, and it, you know, the new, because we've had them. You know, they're essentially new to the game here in Rush Hour. And we've kind of had these. Now, these are longer than your 2Cs and your other F40s to compensate for that Cummins head-in power unit. So, you know, they've got LED headlights. That's a little bit of differentiation. So you may remember them from like Caltrain, for example, for Train Sim World Peninsula Corridor. But they've got like updated everything. They've got all kinds of stuff that MPI is rebuilding. They've got like new mechanical bits. They just upgraded the loco as a whole, electronics, wiring, all kinds of stuff. So anyway, yeah, I'll try and stop blabbing and just get on with it here. All right.
Take a seat in the engineer's position. This is where you'll be spending most of your time.
Let's see. Now, like I said, I'm going to look deeper at this. I'm just going to try and get through this, figure out what I need to know.
The engine before we can get moving.
And then we'll get into it. We'll get into the meat once we get the potatoes out of the way. Knife switch is on. Radio is on. Let's see. Engine start for 4 seconds. Well, that's a lot easier than it actually is. All right, here we go. Mississippi. 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 Mississippi.
The HEP engine is a smaller, secondary engine to provide power to the coaches for lighting, air conditioning, and heating. Let's start this now.
Let's do it. Can I get up to do it? Alright, so this is your head-in power control. Just like on Caltrain, if you played Caltrain, you had that add-on, same kind of dealio. You know, you got to have those to power the cars. This engine here does not power it. Alright, so you hit start for 4 seconds. I think it's a little bit more in depth than this. Alright, AC power on. Oh, you didn't need to hold that. I was holding it like, why is it not doing anything? Alright, Long Hood Trail. Let's see. So to the right. What's next? Switch to run. That is our actual prime mover, our engine. Not has nothing to do with the head-in power over here. Alright, let's see. What do we got here? Cut into brakes. Gonna set it in lead. Hop back into skeet. Engine to run, gen field to run, control to run, or on, not run. Alright, EP brake control on. Yippers. Master key is
To
in.
make sure we can be seen, we'll need to set the lights.
Skablam.
Take a quick glance at the platform to ensure all is safe before unlocking the doors.
All aboard! So let's take a look. Yeah, that's a long boy too, man. You can tell they actually did the model. If you look at the F40 from Caltrain, Peninsula Corridor, this son of a gun is longer. I mean, it's like, I can't remember what it is. It's like 8 feet or something. It's huge. It's like Shaquille O'Neal linkage. Yeah, you can definitely tell it's you know, they probably use the same model for the most part. They just touched it up like the ACS 64 essentially. you know, from what I know, I tried not to watch too many of the streams or read too much about it because I like being pleasantly surprised. I don't want to go into stuff like this, you know, really knowing things about the game. It's one thing knowing stuff about real life, but, you know, about the game itself, I try not to hang on every, you know, word from every stream from Dovetail, etc. So if I say something incorrect, you know,
The reverser
that's
determines
why.
the direction of travel.
Alright, throw it forwards. Another thing I'd like to point out right now is it sounds like we got some decent sounds for American stock in Train Sim World 2, which is a first. You know, Caltrain Peninsula Corridor was pretty decent. This was mainly done by a guy who's got a company, a group called the Audio Shack, and he made enhancement and sound packs for Train Simulator Classic. They were actually pretty decent. I have a few for like the 32-8 and the P42, but he's made quite a few. Anyway, they enlisted him, I believe, to help out with these sounds. So let's see how good they are. Okay, automatic brake to release.
This train is now ready to depart. Use the throttle to apply power and get moving.
Now, I'm wondering if it's actually going to go over the civil train control here. Brakes sound pretty good. It's a little bit quiet, the engine. But the sound levels in Train Sim World have never been good to begin with. You know, even if something's got decent sound, it's always mixed poorly and muddied out. So, you know, hopefully people start being able to fix things like that within the INI, which you're going to have to reset, which I learned the hard way. So if you have any mods, remove them. If you have any INI or sound settings, delete them, because it gave me problems. So this is essentially starting anew with default INI settings. The flange squeal sounds alright. I said I'm not going to go into it, but I'm going into it anyway. I just want to get through this and then, you know, actually get into the meat. But anyway, I hope there's some bit that actually talks about the ACSES and the ATC. But yeah, MBTA has, I honestly don't know how many of these they have. I think they have about a dozen. And if they're not all 3Cs yet, I think they do have a couple of 2s left that have not been converted. I think. Could be wrong. If you know, like always, or have something to add, a question, anything, please let me know in the comments below. I'm kind of peeved that they went with winter for whatever reason. Like, you know, yes, it snows up in New England and it gets very cold, but they kind of made it seem like it's like this all the time. You know, and it gets hot up there just like it does down here in the south. So, yeah, why they went with winter, I don't know. I do know because I peeked and took a look. Every flipping scenario is set in the winter, which is it's an interesting decision, I gotta say. I'm not a fan of it. I think winter and snow in this game is not a strong suit, not by a country mile. little bit of a stutter there. I'd also like to point out the gear that I have. I've got very, very moderate to low gear. I've got a 1660 Ti graphics card with 6 gigs of VRAM, and I've got a very old and antique Ryzen 1700X. So that's what I'm running this on. I got 16 gigs of RAM, Windows 10, obviously, all the other good stuff. So I'm not using anything good hardware-wise. It's, you know, it's several years old, but this seems pretty smooth so far.
You are now approaching Boston Back Bay. Use the automatic brake to apply braking force and
Back
slow the
Bay.
train down.
Essentially means we're farther from the bay. So the bay is like behind us. The Charles River is over that way to the right. The sounds, man, the sounds are actually pretty good. You know, they got me grinning a little bit. I'm not happy with the mixing. I feel like the mixing is always pretty poor. You know, like the engine should definitely be a bit louder. You know, I like that you can hear the panels rattling. I like that you can hear the flange squeal. But the engine itself could be louder. In fact, I feel like all I can hear is that Cummins Jenny back there. Some good brake sounds. I definitely recognize though from the Audio Shack. And when I say good, you know, just these aren't fighting words. You know, because I know people love to, you know, measure themselves. I mean, compared to default dovetail. That's what I mean. Alright, unlock the doors. So yeah, I'm assuming they're not going to go over all this stuff right here, which is a bit of a shame. I'll try and do a video of it to the best of my knowledge. I know a tiny bit. I don't live in the north. I'm not huge on knowledge of this area in the Northeast Corridor and the civil safety systems that are used with onboard train control. But I know a little bit, and you know, for those of you that would like to use it, I'll try and do a tutorial of sorts in the coming days. Let's see if that wraps up the...
On the way to Ruggles, we will perform a test of the emergency brakes.
Ruggles!
When you're ready, apply power to continue the journey.
Let's go. So anyway, like back in the day when just a little bit of history, when they started trying to use F40s for these things, and they didn't have head-in power, they had to essentially keep these engines at high RPM the whole time to be able to power the train and the cars it was pulling. So that's when the advent of head-in power generators being on board started. Bit dark in here. Now I gotta say the cab is a bit clean. Now I'm not sure. That's another thing. I'm not really sure what year they're going for here, right? Because much has changed over the years up here. But the cab looks a little clean. Like it's got scuff marks and paint missing and stuff like that. But I feel like the Caltrain F40 looked better than this on the interior side of things. You know, for what it's worth. Like it's just a little too clean, in my opinion. Got the air conditioning unit up here. Alright, I don't want to mess with this. I want to get through the tutorials. I feel like I didn't even need to do them since they're not going to teach us anything. It kind of defeats the purpose of tutorials, I must say. Like, People have been asking for stuff like that, and their response is to have Matt, you know, make videos in his own time explaining things.
Emergency brake.
I don't think that's good enough.
Move the automatic brake
I think
into
tutorials
emergency.
should be in depth. You know, it's great that he's making those videos, but honestly, they should. All right, throw it in emergency. They should give you a proper. That's loud. A proper tutorial. You know.
Now the train has stopped, we can begin to recover it.
Alright. PCS trippage, so we're going to return it to neutral.
Apply the independent brake while the automatic brake recharges.
There it is. Going to drop this back. Probably didn't need to bail it off. Does this bail? Does it have a bail? No. Oh, this... Okay, so the Caltrain brakes... I actually didn't realize that. The Caltrain brakes were manually lapped. This thing has got, like, the automatic lapping brakes, so it should be a little easier to brake, hopefully. Alright, we'll put it back forwards.
Now that our brake pressure has recharged, we can release the independent brake and apply power.
Rolling backwards. So this shows you how to come out of an emergency stop. I don't know how useful that is. And I'm not just saying that to try and sound like a meanie patini. That's not my angle, ever, with anything train sim. But I feel like it's kind of useless. You know, because... You know, the way this game is set up is like if you pass a red, you know, signal pass of danger, that's it. You're going back to the menu. There's no automatic brake application, you know, unless you accidentally put it in emergency yourself. It really has no place. Plus, it's pretty straightforward. Some locomotives are different. Some you got to wait 60, 90 seconds, whatever. This one, I feel like that wasn't really necessary. Just, you know, for whatever it's worth. Alright, so we got this one to do. I'm eagerly, dang, did you see that person coming down those stairs? That was scary looking. Up. I screwed up. That person coming down those stairs looked like something out of a horror movie. That's loud. So I'm equally geeked about trying out the cab car.
This train.
These cab cars are interesting. Alright, continue. Let's see. What is this here? Boston to Stoughton. The Stoutski. The Stoutizzle. Nobody calls it that. Alright, explore. Let's see. What do we got training? So we did those. CTC, ACS introduction. I want to do this here. So the CTC 3. These are the coaches and cars that come with the F40. And they're pretty unique. Let's go ahead and try that one out. It's a bit lengthy, but you know, I've never operated one of these in Train Sim or Train Sim World, so I think I'm gonna need this, you know. So these were built by Messerschmitt, Bolkow, and Blum. They are the CTC-3 cab car. So there's a difference, and it's kind of an easy way to differentiate between the two. So CTC is the cab car. BTC is the coach. The B essentially means that it's blind, as in there's no drivable cab. So when you see CTC, it's cab car. BTC is the coach itself.
Welcome to driver training. Today you will be taken through the operation of a CTC-3 cab car in MBTA livery.
Sweet.
During this brief introduction, we will go through the critical driving controls.
Holy
and
lag,
passenger
Batman.
operations. When you are ready, climb aboard to get started.
Let's go,
Take a
baby.
seat in the engineer's position. This is where you'll be spending most of your time.
Almost looks as if it wants you to sit on the doorway here. Anyway, these, yes, you probably heard Messerschmitt. Yes, that is the same Messerschmitt that built aircraft. They ventured into building, you know, some train rolling stock as well. They also built the, I think the DB class 420, the German rolling stock, in the ICE-1. So they got their feet wet with trains a little bit. Anyway, they built these in, I want to say, like the early 80s, 1980. How do you close the door? Close the door. There we go. But they're pretty interesting, you know, I gotta say. And cab cars are cool. Like, I've always thought cab cars are pretty neat. You know, they're silent. You're not going to be hearing much because the power is back at the tail end of the train. So
The cab car is powered by the F40PH-3C, and we will need to set it to be the active driving end.
just like she said. And I gotta say, right off the bat, it looks good in here. I feel like this looks better than the dang F40. I mean, these are old, but it's got some decent weathering, some patina. It looks alright. It's even got the little ribbed doohickeys on the brake handle there. The seat's got that old leather seat, or not leather, vinyl probably. Alright, so how do we operate this son of a gun? This is probably going to be the most in-depth thing out of all the rolling stock, because I know the cab cars on Peninsula Corridor were, you know, fairly in-depth. So here we go. Alright, generator field on. Engine run on. So we're essentially controlling the locomotive at the back of the consist right now from up here. Alright, EP brake control on. Go ahead and close that back. Let's see, it's going to put our brake key. Is this the brake key or reverser key? There we go. Reverser key. Set it to neutral.
To make sure we can be seen, we'll need to set the lights.
Put the lights to dim. Cut the brakes in.
Take a quick glance at the platform to ensure all is safe before unlocking the doors.
Open the doors. Brakes sound good. That air pressure sounds alright. I am refraining, and it's difficult to use the horn and the bell, and just listening to the actual stock sounds much closer. It's hard. I'm barely hanging on here. I should have removed the spacebar key. What's up there, Puffy Jacket? What's good? So the people, I don't know if I mentioned this yet. That's one of the things they updated with Rush Hour is they added a wider variety of folks, AI peeps on the platform, right? And the clothing as well. I think they've added appropriate kind of winterized clothing. If it's cold out, what is this woman doing over here? But anyway, so they've got appropriate clothing. There's a lot more people. I think that's part of the whole Rush Hour deal. Go ahead and close the door. That is loud. That is very loud.
Features an in-cab signaling system. Upcoming speed limits will be displayed on the ATC panel.
Okay, so they kind of explain it here.
Determines the direction of travel.
Release the brakes.
This train is now ready to depart. Use the throttle to apply power and get moving.
Let's go. Now, it may take a second. There you go. See, now we're moving. Because you got to remember, if you've never driven or operated a, cab car, it's got to get all that power down and then, push the train instead of pull the train. So, when you give it a couple of notches of throttle, remember to, give it a moment. Okay, so I'm hearing a flange squeal now, but it's because the window's open. It's damn near silent with it closed. It's like really silent. I don't hear anything. Alright, we're going to South Attleborough. Anyway, this route should encompass several stations. No clue what that was. Like, again, that, you know, could have been explained. Some kind of alert, I'm assuming. But Boston South Station is essentially in the heart of downtown Boston, right off the bay. Very, very busy area. And it's the end of the Northeast Corridor as well, so pretty much all, you know, Amtrak terminates or begins. But I don't exactly know how many stations are coming with this, but it should come with quite a few stations. I mean, we got, let's see, we got South Station, you got Southampton Yard, Back Bay Station, Massachusetts Avenue, Ruggles, Roxbury Crossing, Jackson Square, Stony Brook, Green Street, Forest Hills, Hyde Park, Reedville, and Reedville Yard, which is where CSX stores cars. Route 188, Canton Junction, Sharon, Marsfield, Attleborough, South Attleborough, and Providence Station. So it's got quite a few stations, and you know what's cool about it is they're all different. They don't all kind of look the same. I mean, some of them do look samey from what I know, what I've seen and viewed in real life, but there is a bit of difference, and it's cool because, you know, Boston's huge. It's a huge urban area. It's an old city as well. It's one of the oldest cities in America. It's trying to think. It was let's say it was chartered in like what was it? I can't remember. Anyway, it's the most populated city in New England. It's also one of the oldest cities. Yeah, that's what it is. It was chartered in like 1630 by Puritan settlers. You know, that sailed across the sea. But a lot of stuff happened here. Boston Massacre, Tea Party, Battle of Bunker Hill. And 1 out of every 3 residents of Boston use public transit. So this is a very, very important transit line, the MBTA. And I believe they're one of the highest in the U.S. as far as public transportation via train, bus, whatever, is in Boston, the greater Boston area. So, you know, the route essentially starts there. Huge urban sprawl. You know, the stations are big. They get a little smaller and a little smaller, more rural. And then you kind of get out into the neighborhoods and the burbs. A little bit down the way is the Stoughton Branch, which is like it's kind of in another burb. And then you go through a lot of just green space areas and nature preserves. Go over a couple of rivers. So it should have quite a bit of variety, which I can't wait to see all of it. I want to just scooch through this as fast as absolutely possible, but I'm doing these, you know, so I know or understand what all I need to understand for the most part. That's also why I'm trying to not look too in depth here. So if you're not into the tutorials, I'd recommend now skipping maybe like 10-15 minutes ahead in the video here. You got 2 miles to South Attleborough. So this is essentially we're down near Providence in Rhode Island. Rhodey, Little Rhodey, as they call it, nickname, or the Ocean State. I think they call it the Ocean State. What's funny is it's not even an island, so I don't really get that. You know, it does have islands, but it's not even an island. Anyway. So something else that's great about this route, which a lot of you probably will understand as well, is this fella named Brandon. I believe his name's Brandon, a.k.a. Cactus Juice, in Train Sim community forums and discords and things like that. He kind of laid the groundwork, the foundation, if you will, for this route on his own when he had access to, you know, whatever the current build was in the editor. It's just kind of a pet project, if you will. And, you know, I guess he shared it with lead designers and producers and all that at Dovetail. And, you know, they were like, hey, we could probably go somewhere with this. So he laid it out. He laid the track. He poured the concrete. You know, he got the foundation going. And then Dovetail took it and just kind of added, you know, stuff on. So that's cool as well, because I believe he, Cactus Juice, or Brandon, I believe he's known as, you know, he's kind of a local to this area, and he knows it a bit. He also had a major hand in the, if you're aware of the Train Simulator Classic, Baltimore to DC
You are now
route.
approaching South Attleborough. Use the automatic brake to apply braking force and slow the train down.
But anyway, this area we're currently at here, this is on the south side. This is down just right on the state line of Rhode Island. I think like Attleborough, South Attleborough, Providence, and I'm trying to think what the other stations are down here. Oh, we need a break like now. Mansfield, Sharon, Canton Junction, it's all down this way. And I cannot wait to see what this looks like without this horrible winter effect. You know, not to sound negative, but I think it looks horrible. I've never been a fan of winter in Train Sim World. It just does not look good. It reminds me of like a fake nativity scene or something at a mall during Christmas or whatever, where they got that like spray snow on the ground. It just, you know, snow isn't always clean and white like this. You know, it gets dirty, brown. You'll have big clumps that'll be, you know, froze together for days and days while they're, you know, could be clear on the tracks. But I'm not a fan of snow with Train Sim World 2. Open the doors. All right. We should be almost ready to sink our teeth into the route a bit more here. See, when I just look at Train Sim World winterized as a whole, and I look at this here, directly ahead of us here, it's not a good look. Not very good. I think Train Sim Classic did winter better than Train Sim World. Anyway, a bit more on the Stoughton Branch, which is up the line here a bit. That's a 4-mile branch line, and what's kind of cool about all this is I don't know if it'll ever be layered in. I hope it is, because it would just add a bit more variety.
Apply power to continue.
We gotta keep going. Anyway, the Stoughton Branch is just a little branch line. I think it's about 4 miles long. Trains go down and back.
On the way to Attleborough, we'll perform a test of the emergency brakes.
Can't wait. Super excited. But this line is not just passenger trains. This line sees freight traffic several times a week. Now it's not mainline freight traffic from what I know. It's locals, and because there is a yard down here, the big yard. Well, it's not too big, but it's farther up towards Boston. Anyway, I think it is. Maybe it is daily, but they you know, they move goods around, and there's consignees and shippers on the Stoughton Branch as well. So you'll see like a little CSX GP38 or GP40, whatever, you know, moving like 1 or 2 cars around. So if that were somehow layered in, that would that'd very much be cool. Just more variety. You know, when it comes to like train sim stuff, the more the merrier. This place has got a ton of history too. I'll try not to go too History Channel because I'm not sure if people are really into that or not. But I like history. It's important and it's interesting to me. But then anyway, this area is one of the oldest areas in the States as far as railroading goes. The track in this area here, this corridor was laid almost 200 years ago by the aptly named Boston and Providence Railroad. So there's a lot of history out here. Now another thing is, being that this is the Northeast Corridor, this is where the Acela stretches her legs. She can run up to 150 miles per hour. Now, sadly, we do not have an Acela. Will we ever see an Acela? Probably not. I believe Matt Pedelson himself, direct from the horse's mouth, has said that they really have no plans to make an Acela, which is a bit of a shame. But anyway, that runs out here up to 150 mile an hour. Your regional Northeast Corridor ACS hauled trains, they can do up to a $1.25 in some areas. Now back to the Acela, I don't know that it would be such a great idea because the distance between Boston and Providence is not that great. So by the time you even get up to near 150 mile an hour, because there's only certain portions of the Northeast Corridor that allow 150 mile an hour, and some of them are, yes, up here. Let me break here a bit. But anyway, that would essentially make we're speeding like a mofo. That would essentially make a trip between Boston and Providence like 20 minutes, if that, depending on where it stops. So I don't know. I mean, it would be absolutely bonkers and bananas to see the Acela. Who doesn't like the Acela? I'm sure there's people out there that don't, and that's fine. But it's the premier high-speed train that we have in the States. Aside from Brightline down here in Florida where I live. But the Acela is just cool. It looks amazing, especially in the Amtrak livery. It's always had, but
We will now begin the test of the emergency brake.
Yay!
Move the automatic brake into emergency.
That's loud.
Now the train has stopped, we can begin to recover it.
Should almost be there. Okay. We'll just let that do its thing, but there's a lot here. Got the Boston South and Back Bay, got Cove Interlocking, Southampton Street Maintenance Facility, the Big Providence Station. It's got Reedville, which is near Boston South Station, which has also got the MBTA facility and Csx Yard. It's got Canton Viaduct, Neponset River, which has got a huge, kind of like a protected wildlife, protected habitat, just lush green. It's essentially the watershed for the Neponset River. That is so loud. Ah! Alright, release the brakes. That's it. So emergency brake application on the cab car is basically just waiting for the pipe to charge and then releasing the brake. So yeah, I feel like it's kind of not necessary as far as going over. We ought to be going over the speed control system and all that. CTC, ACSES, or not CTC, ATC. But anyway, as I was saying, there's a ton of stuff around here. The couple of CSX areas where you can definitely see stock. And I think I do remember seeing on one of the Dovetail streams some CSX box cars and stuff adjacent the passenger lines. So who knows? Maybe, maybe we'll... That'd be cool, to just be able to do some local freight, just moving some cars around and seeing traffic going up and down the line here, MBTA and Amtrak, all that good stuff. Also, a good bit of the line, I believe it's off to our right, where we're currently at, is Interstate 95, which is the interstate that essentially runs from Miami all the way down to South Florida, all the way up to the Boston area and a bit farther. But anyway, it runs all the way down the East Coast. Big major highway. Hate driving on it in real life. It's a nightmare. That's kind of a thing in the area. But this place is busy in real life. This place is busy. It is one of the busiest commuter and passenger railroads in the nation. I mean, it may not sound a lot like to the likes of the UK and Germany and other countries, but this line alone, I think the south side sees over 100 trains a day. So there's a lot going on. But like I mentioned earlier, apparently it's more the newer double-decker coaches, and no BTC cars. That there's some single-decker BTC cars mixed in with double-deckers and whatnot, but it's mainly the double-deckers. So I'm not sure what time period they set this in. A ton hasn't changed over the years up here from the knowledge I have of the area, but it has changed some. So in terms of like future content, if they do like a DLC for this, if they did, I don't know, maybe like now I don't have it, but that Diesel Legends or whatever for the Great Western, if they did something like that for this, that would be pretty sweet. Give us like some toasters, some AEM 7s, some OG F40s. That would be sweet. Maybe even like an HHP 8, which was like the first Acela, if you will. They had a lot of problems, so they were kind of scrapped. Although I think some are still in service on like Mark, M-A-R-C. But there's a lot they could do with this, Yeah, not to mention older MBTA and Amtrak stuff, but freight goodies as well, That is so loud. See what I'm talking about with like mixing? Well, let me stop here. Please let me stop here. Thank you. That's what I'm talking about with sound mixing, though. Even when they have good sounds,
that concludes all the basics of operating this train.
I feel like they're kind of just muddied up with the mixing, and they definitely could be better. All right, let's get into the meat and potatoes. Now we'll go to the menu. I'll show you the scenarios just in case you may be interested. Every doggone one of them is in winter. Why they did that, I don't know, but not a fan. Not a fan at all. I don't think winter looks good in Train Sim World 2020 or 2. Unless they change it overall. I hate it. I don't like it. I know hate's a strong word, but I very much do not like it. So that was interesting. Timetable. We'll go ahead and look at the ACS 64. Now, of course, it seems limited, yes, because these are regional trains here. Now, the MBTA and the F40, those are local, so there's going to be a bit more of those. It's going to be a lot more busy with MBTA stuff. So this is what we got for the ACS. 95, 66, 171, 93, 190, 73, 70, 72, 75, 86, 77, 74, 79, 76, 94, 67. So they're all pretty much going to be Boston to Providence or Providence to Boston, etc., etc. Now, I believe they were supposed to add some scenarios, or timetables into the balloon loop that runs around Boston, right? But for whatever reason, something happened, as per usual, with Dovetail, seems like, and they weren't able to get those out. So they said they're working on them, and hopefully they'll be integrated sometime soon, which I hope they will, because it'll add just a bit more to do, instead of like samey stuff. Anyway, let's check out the F40 here. We're going to make it summer. Hell, we'll do August. We'll do right now. I don't know what that is. We do Fahrenheit here. Okay. F40PH-3C. Now, ton of more services here. Lot more services. So what I'm going to try and start off with here is we'll try and do a Stoughton run from South Station to the Stoutski. Let's see, what is this? 903 South Station to Stout. It may be a little dark, so let's go down some. There we go. 821. All right. What this will allow us to do is not only look at the F40 a bit more in depth, but the actual route itself. So now we're actually going to look around here. All right. First things first, we're going to look at South Station. South Side. See how high we can go. Now, we're not this is as high as we can get, sadly. So, the heart of Boston, downtown Boston, is over Yatta Way, right back here. Maybe we can fly over here. I'm seeing some repetitive buildings like that one right there. Some look new-ish. Let's see if I can use the cheat here. Now, this right here is a parking garage, or my friends in the UK, a car park. That's what this is. The tracks run under this bit right here. And then there's an open bit right down there, and then that building right there that's kind of shaped like a harp or a bow, that's South Station. Now the bay is over that way. There's a canal or a channel right over here that I was hoping we'd be able to see, because it ain't far at all. It's literally like right on the other side of that building there. It's called like Fort Point Channel or something like that. And then there's a big yard and a separate line that runs straight down that way. And then the Providence line, which we're going to be going down, curves around to the right. So pretty much everything you're going to do on this route is going to curve around to the right. So far it looks alright. It looks a little vanilla. Looks too clean. I mean, it is downtown Boston, FFS. You know, could have grimed it up quite a bit. It's just a little too, I don't know, institutional looking, if you will. A little bit too clean. So anyway, here's the parking garage. Trains are underneath here. There's a ramp. Look at that. That guy was right on his butt, man. So this is like the, part of the station, but it's a parking garage up there for the most part. The actual station, the old station, is right here. This is South Station. And I've seen quite a bit of South Station. They got this pretty spot on it. It looks pretty legit so far. I haven't seen the front. But the skylights right here, it's all legit. Yeah, I mean, it looks alright. See if it'll let us go around to the front. Oh, come on, dude. Why? Why? We got a bit of gunk over here. Oh, well. We did it. So it will let you come over here. Okay, so even though you can't come over here really, and you really have no business being over here, this is what South Station looks like. And it's kind of cool because, you know, as an American and knowing that all of our... there's a canal back there, that bridge right there. So you can actually see the canal as well. I think that's called Fort Point Canal. And then the Boston Tea Party Floating Museum is up that way just a little bit. It's like right there up the channel there. Anyway, what's cool about this place is just about every single frickin' passenger train station in the States is called Union Station. This one is not. It's called South Station. So, you know, that's pretty cool. But it's a decent looking model. It looks alright. I mean, they put the clock up there and the eagle and all that. You got the little bits down here. I don't think it looks as good as like the Great Western Express map, you know, with what the hell is it? The London station. I cannot remember. I used to play the crap out of it. I cannot remember it now. Anyway, it looks decent. Go down here. Atlantic Avenue. There's a ton of people. You'll notice that right off the bat. And I think that's what they were going for, rush hour, trying to make it look more busy. Busy. So there's quite a bit going on. The handrails and all that, that's legit. They actually look like that. The signage, yeah, for the most part, looks alright. Got some advertisements there. So yeah, this is South Station. These, I hope they fix these. I hope this isn't like a one-all be-all for, you know, passenger information systems in the States or anywhere in Train Sim World too. So hopefully that'll get corrected. I don't know if the wall over here is blue. I do know that they've been doing construction on this place for quite a while. It may be done now. Here's the parking garage bit here, which is kind of neat. It's almost like two stations in one. See if we can see the canal back here. There it is. I'll be dang. You can actually see the canal. Now, that's distant scenery, and that's never been a strong suit for Dovetail and Train Sim World, but, you know, it is what it is. This goes over the canal here. So, these are other train. This is one of the other train lines right here. And what's cool about it is it's got a portal, so you're actually going to see trains. I don't know how much or how often coming and going from these portals, just like in Train Sim Classic. I believe there's a maintenance facility right down there and a yard. This is legit right here. They store cars here as well. I think older rolling stock or stuff that's being fixed or broken. See how far it'll let us go down here. Might kick us to the menu. Yeah, so this all looks legit. So I wonder if there's anything that you can do back here, because all this stuff is back here. Another bridge down there. Anyway, it looks decent. Now, there's probably going to be a bunch of people saying like the tracks don't look right and the ballast is wrong and blah blah blah. Because because I'm usually one of those as well. It doesn't look great. It's still got that really annoying patterning, but to be fair, the patterning seems to be a little bit less noticeable here. Just let's say by like 12%. Now it looks like they have fixed the marker lights as well. I remember in one of the official streams, the markers in the heads were wrong, so if you were going forwards, it would have the markers backwards, vice versa. But I think I remember Mr. Peddleson himself saying that was only AI trains. I don't rightly remember. Some weird shadows going on in that building back there. Look at that. What the heck? I thought it was like some kind of art. You get close to it, they disappear. Maybe you can go in the parking garage. Nope. Alright, enough of this. Let's operate a train, shall we? So the place looks busy, man. I gotta give it that. So it looks busy. A train left, one's coming in. We got how many sitting here right now? Let's see. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. And it's really smooth. Again, I've got crappy specs. I'm getting almost 40 frames at 150% screen resolution on ultra settings. This is pretty darn smooth, I gotta say. Like if there was something like this going on the old Northeast Corridor, my computer would probably be on fire right now. So I don't know how they did that. But it's pretty smooth. That's one of the things about this that I liked, is it looked smooth and it looked busy. You know, they got the station right for the most part. The lamps. It actually looks pretty legit. All right, we'll get out of the station and look more at the rolling stock. All right, let's see if I can remember how to set this puppy up. So go ahead and unlock the doors. I believe the Jenny is already running. Alright, feed through. Train line complete. We are set to run. Yeah, I think it's already set here. Let's see. Front number lights on. Platform lights on. Engine room lights, why the hell not? Rear markers. Front marker lights off. Wait a minute. What? This is confusing. Can you go in here? Nope. That would be cool, though. Open that up. Yep, she's got power. We're obviously running here. Let's make sure the radio's on. Headlights. What's that? Warning devices. Turning that on. For show. Safety devices on. For show. Radio on for show. Alert control on for show. So I believe that's going to be all your safety systems and your ATC up here on the right when you're sat in the seat. That seat doesn't move. We'll go ahead and open all the windows. Check out the second man seat. Emergency brake still works. Sidewall heater. Yeah. It's one of those things where like, yeah, it works, but it's kind of pointless. You know, but if you're into that, good for you. Can't go in the nose. Doobie doobie doo. Let's see. We need to set it to lead. Got our brakes in. Pop a squat. Lock the doors. Sand alerter. Okay. Headlights rear. Headlights front. We'll try on dim. Peak brake on, engine run on, gin field on, control and fuel pump on. Step lights on, gauge lights on. Cab lights back off. Let's take a look at the front. So that's us on dim. Let's go ahead and take off here. So we're due at Boston Back Bay Track 1 82802. We're going to be late, but that's fine. That is fine. Let's see if we can actually figure this out here. Alright, did I turn it off? Alright, anyway. Reverse your key in. Forwards. There we go. Now it's on. Sounds like we got another train taking off as well. Go ahead and come off the brakes. Give it the bell. I mean, it sounds pretty good, but again, it's really, really quiet. I don't even know if you guys watching the video can hear that. Because, I used to have my game settings changed within the, documents where I had the sounds boosted. And now it's just completely default. And horn. It sounds pretty decent. I give it that. It's got a loop and it's got a funny loop. It's almost like the end of the loop is bad. I hope that's fixed. Hear it like clicking. It's ending abruptly. Now that's the thing about the Audio Shack. You know, I'm not trying to step on anybody's toes or naysay or be negative, but while the Audio Shack sounds were good, you know, compared to like your default Kuju, RSE, Dovetail stuff, in the scale of third-party sound enhancements, I'd say they were probably in like the middle area. You know, just from the stuff I've experienced in train sims. So while yes, that does sound good, that the end of the loop, something's weird. Something weird going on there. Listen to it outside. Yeah, you can definitely hear it almost sounds like that end wave is reversed or something. It does this really annoying clicking sound. Not crazy about that. Get all the traffic. We'll do a distant horn blast here. Now it's pretty good as far as like giving it a quick shorty, you know, quick blast. Yes, it's not bad. It ain't bad. All right. I guarantee you it is 1,000,000% better than what Dovetail would have given us by default. Okay? So just take that how you will. Alright, we're still limited at 10. Now 15. Get out of that train's way here. The sounds, man, like the more I listen to it, the sounds are there. You know, again, it's just the mixing I feel is wrong. It sounds really flat, but you know, again, that's not one of the issues with the sounds themselves. I think it's the Unreal Engine. Something about it. Like Trains and World sounds always sound really flat. There's no reverb. There's no, you know, there's no just gravelly to it, you know. It's just kind of, I don't know, it's like listening to a blown speaker in your car or something, you know. Kind of got that that vibe. All right, we got a speed limit of 30 now. Speed up some. Now I do want to look around. the map itself, it looks pretty decent through here. I gotta say, the interstate does follow along. This is I-93, I believe, right here. So it's kind of the end of I-95, and it runs in and around Boston, Beantown. This is all legit. This is what this looks like right here. It kind of goes underground under the road right here. These beams, these exposed beams, that's what it looks like IRL. So they got that. This is Back Bay. Not sure why they call it that. They make it sound like there's a bay back here, and it's like, oh, this is the Back Bay. There's no bay back here. It's, you know, it's, there's water near here. Oh, Nikes. Those are alerter. But anyway, why they call it Back Bay, I don't know. Maybe it means like back off the bay, I guess. Alright, we'll go ahead and complete our first stop, and we'll look around here real quick. We'll check out those coaches as well. I'm going to try and cover as much as absolutely possible. And, you know, if you're watching and you've made it to this point, I hope it's somewhat informative to you. Like, I feel like there's too many videos of just people silent, sitting in a train, just running the train. If that's what you're into, that's absolutely fine. But, you know, me personally, I want to know about everything. I want to know inside the coaches, the locomotives. I want to know about the sounds. I want to know about the area. You know, assets, the way things look, how, you know, ambient world sound, everything. So, if you're into that, please stay tuned, because that's mostly what you're going to find with my videos. So we're going to go ahead and stand up. They got the AC up here, which is pretty cool. Turn off. I thought it said off. Turn off power before working this machine. That makes no sense. Let's climb down. We're gonna go hop in those coaches back there. Whoa, that's kind of weird. I think the livery on the MBTA looks good. I think it does look alright. Now, one, you know, tiny, almost indiscriminate issue I have about it is I feel like the purple is a bit wrong. I think the purple is a bit more dark purpley IRL, but I don't know if that's... Do you mind, ladies? Do you mind? Hello, yes, goodbye. I think it's more of just an Unreal Engine, because everything in Trains and World just looks bright and glowy and, you know, like just a weird kind of look to it. So that could have something to do with it. But the model itself looks legit. I mean, they had the model from Peninsula Corridor for the most part. Yes, this is a longer F40 body by, I think it's like 8 feet. I'm sure if it's not, hopefully somebody will correct me. But it looks like an F40. It looks good. It's got all the proper markings. Class Department Dash 3C for the Cummins HEP. Got the step ladder light down there. Some of the oh, it's got this down here as well. That's a nice little touch. Got the weight, serial number, order number, horsepower. It's a nice touch. I don't remember that being on the is that something the MPI adds when they rebuild these? I don't remember that being on the Caltrain F40. But, like, some of it looks legit, man. Like, some of this weathering right here looks pretty good. You know, the steps, they're a bit muddy. Kind of that mailed-in look. The coupler looks alright. Pop the light on. Yeah, the coupler actually looks decent. They did throw the LED lights on here, because they do have them. The rebuilds. So these suckers are bright. There's your bell right there, and the horn as well. The T. It's got the reflective panels below. Get on the back porch here. Now, this is something you could not do on... That is really weird, that animation. This is something you could not do on the Caltrain F40 because it did not have a back porch. Right? Yeah, no, it doesn't have a back porch. It'd be cool if you could go back there, though. This guy agrees. It's kind of creepy. But, you know, it looks legit. Why is that door open? Is that door open? Alright, let's hop in the Comet. The single level. Again, it's got some decent weathering. Coming out of the vent up there. Crap dripping down. That handicap sign looks a little bit off. The, like, shape of it. Okay, that's weird. Loud, silent. Loud, silent. So, doing the tutorial, the cab car earlier, that kind of reassures me that the sounds on these old coaches may not be the best, and they're just not mixed well like a lot of sounds normally aren't in Train Sim World. Because it is absolutely silent in here. You should hear like some fans, AC running something, you know. And why is this open? Is that open? I'm pretty sure that shouldn't be open. I mean, there's got to be a door on those, right? There's a trap door. So this right here is for those that may not be aware, along the Northeast Corridor and, you know, just a lot of places in general in the States, there are places that will have high-level platforms and low-level / no platform. That's what that's for. So these are the higher ones, so they obviously don't need it, so you can close that back. That's pretty cool. It's a nice addition. Got another train pulling up. Man, I gotta say, this route does seem busy, and I'm totally down with that. I am down with that. The more the merrier. Now these coaches are pretty darn old, IRL. You know, now they're like over 40 years old. But they don't look great interior wise. They look really flat and just kind of featureless and textureless again. The lights look pretty good. The roof looks all right. I like how the lights kind of have that hue, like there's an old just gnarly plastic covering, you know, above the big bulbs. It's just kind of mildewed and just bleh. Those actually look all right. Those lights actually look all right up there. Seats, they could look better, you know. It's your fire extinguisher. You can't go in the potty. I know super hardcore Train Sim fans have been wanting to be able to go in the potty for a long, long time. That is not possible. I am sorry. It's terrible. I know. So, I guess this is open. That's weird, man. So the bars are down, but you can walk straight through it. That's funky. I run through here. Now I can kind of hear some stuff. It's not as silent over here. Dang, there's another train. And look at this. I like how there's random people sitting all throughout the coaches. Like in Train Sim World 2020 and Train Sim World 2, it was always kind of weird. It was like all the seats were full, or sometimes trains had no one in them, and it looked weird. They're just sitting randomly, which is nice. Now I'm just noticing the doors. Those have a nice squeaky sound. Again, it could be louder. I feel like stuff is always just way too quiet in this game, and it drives me bonkers. Even the door animation's pretty nice, the handle there. I mean, yeah, it seems alright. These have some different seats here. Yo, see, just random people sitting in random spots again. That's cool. That is cool. And there's the cab car. That's it. That'd kind of be cool to just hop on one of these AI trains and just ride, look out the back as you go along like that. Alright, let's get up here. We're back in. Let's go ahead and close the doors. Now this is Back Bay. It's essentially underground. I don't know a whole lot about Back Bay, but the little tiny bit I've seen, it looks legit. You know, it looks alright for the most part. Got this open bit here, and then it's underground, goes under the city and the streets that way. Oh yeah, it actually looks alright. Like, I don't know. I mean, honestly, the cityscape up here looks better than New York ever did, in my opinion. In like Train Sim World 2020, and even like Long Island Railroad. It actually looks pretty decent. Credit where credit's due. The lighting in here looks alright. I do like these lights. They don't, you know, they have like a hue to them, like a color. Whereas, I feel like before, with a lot of routes, they don't. They were just kind of meh. Let's see if we can hop up these stairs here. You slacker. What are you doing? Can we go in here? Hi? There's a poster. What did we just come across? This is terrifying picture. This is weird, man. Oh, God. What's going on? This is strange. I feel like we just wandered into one of those, like, zombie movies where they're just standing there motionless, silent, you know? Alright, we'll do a run by. Which one's us? That's us. There we go. Alright, Route 128, next stop. I want to listen, once we get going, I want to listen to the coach sounds as well. See if we can hear hiss, braking, rattling, all that good stuff, flange. Most definitely would not be using the horn down here. It'd make everybody deaf. Some of those car sounds are pretty decent. The clatter. Clickety-clackety. Alright, we are relegated to a 30 mph up here. Now 60. Oh, and look at that. You can get out in the tunnel. That's always been a thing people have not been happy with, and they promised it with Clinchfield, and it never came to fruition. I mean, hell, I even remember them streaming Clinchfield, and they did it. And then when the game released, or the route released, you couldn't do it. So it seems to actually work here, which is nice. Alright, let's go back outside. Some sort of shed here. This might be the metro, I believe, right here. Because a lot of this southern line has a metro. Why did I say that? A metro. You know, right alongside. Got another station. This is Ruggles. Ruggles, it's got a cool overhang right here. It's a pretty large area up there. I don't want to get too far from the train. There's your escalators or stairs. Yeah, that's got to be the metro right there, I think. Go into the tunnel. And back out. The lighting seems okay. Going from complete darkness and tunnels to back outside again, that seems to be alright. I know that's been an issue with some previous Train Sim World stuff. I like all the weeds down in here. That's nice. Now, what would be cool is if we actually saw the Metro running over here. Even if they were just like 8-bit, you know, kind of crummy looking, just running over there. That would be very cool. Kind of like on Rhine-Ruhr-Osten, you've got the Schwebebahn, which are the little cars that hang upside down. They did those AI, which just added to the route, made it seem more alive. It was pretty cool. They could have done something like that, you know, because I feel like even with the underground Bakerloo line, you know, they kind of had the same thing there, where it was just the West Coast Main Line was dead, and it looked ridiculous because it's very busy, the West Coast Main Line. So, but it looks pretty legit. These overhangs, when you come out like that, they look good. Oh crap, the alerter's going off. We'll do a screaming by thing here. We're back there somewhere. We got 8 miles of Route 128. So what I'm going to try to do, like I said, we'll finish this out and go down the Stoat, the little Stouty, and then we'll start in Providence in an ACS 64, and then come north up to about the Stoughton area. So we'll try and cover the entire route. You see that on the coaches? The coaches were like glowing. They look like a friggin' squid when it's mad. It starts like flashing. That was weird. Another train. Now this is Forest Hills. It's a pretty basic station. Another train. Dang. Line goes off that way. Now this is nice. The rubbish, the garbage through here. If they could have done more of that on the route, that would have been nice. Oh, they kind of half-ass added the clock tower over here. That's nice. I mean, there's no time, there's no minute, second, hour hands on it, but they added the clock tower, so that's kind of cool. But for the most part, for those that, again, I'm not terribly inundated with knowledge from this area, and look, there's more tag and urban art out here, which is nice. I know a tiny bit about this area, but if you do not, it's like this until you get out of Greater Boston. You're kind of like in a concrete canyon, if you will, and then it opens up into level ground, and it's just going to get real green, a bit woodsy the further you go. Junction Box, same old Junction Box. SJBDD, same Junction Box, different day. Nothing special there. But I gotta say, man, the route so far looks good. Like all the weeds and grass through here on these embankments, that looks alright. Because I remember when Southeastern High Speed came out through Chatham, that looked like dog crap on Southeastern High Speed. It did not look good at all. This looks alright through here. These are very nice. Signals look legit. You know, from what I know. That's pretty much what they look like. They got that right. And I think, you know, what you should take away with a lot of that is the guy that kind of built the foundation for this route, and the catenary as well. That looks pretty good. Is, you know, the guy that kind of created this thing in its infancy before Dovetail was like, hey, let me get some of that. You know, he's very good with stuff like this. He's from up that way, and he knows about stuff like this. So he's somewhat a local. So he kind of knows what he's doing for the most part. That road is odd looking. But the catenary changes all throughout. Man, it looks pretty decent. It does. It's different from one area to the next, really. When you're in Boston, it looks different. And then you're out through here, and it's just kind of basic looking. Still got 4 miles to Route 128. Let's see where we is. Hyde Park. We are not stopping here. Pretty basic station. But again, you see what I'm saying? Like, the stations are different. And one to the next. You know, they're not super samey. Like, for instance, the Long Island Railroad. Crap, the alerter's going off. The Long Island Railroad, like a lot of the stations, you know, and they are in real life, they're just very bland and samey. So, alright, let's haul booty. See something interesting, I'll hop out. We're on the inner line because we're going to be passing through a lot of the northeast corridors like this as well. Damn the torpedoes! Oh, the door's open. No wonder. Jeez, I was like, the sound sounds weird, man. Oh, boy. Ah, that's another thing. The map. They changed the map, I believe. Hold up. Are we braking right now? What's going on here? What happened? What happened? Was it because I got out of the seat? Son of a biscuit. Anyway, the map. I think they... No. It's the same dang map. Son of a gun. Alright, well, on one of the Dovetail streams, I remember them showing that the map actually had names. And it does not. You know, maybe they're updating it or trying to get it in a place where they think it looks better, but there's a Stoughton Branch right there. It does not have letters and names. Damn it. Anyway, this is the big yard right here, just south of South Station with the balloon loupage. I mean, they built this area up. They meant for us to be able to use this, so I hope they fix the services there where we can. Alright, brake apply. Why is the brake applied? Alright, we're going to cut it in. Max out the Indy. Did it just crash? What just happened? Alright, so that crash was unfortunate. I'm not sure why that happened. It just randomly crashed while I was trying to take the brakes off of the F40. So anyway, we're skipping ahead. We are down now in Providence, Rhode Island. So we're on the south end of the route. We're going to go north. We are, of course, now in the ACS 64. Sat right here in front of us. And we're going to look at that and the route itself going northbound. So this is Providence. It's Providence Station. It looks alright. It pretty much looks like it does in real life. It's got the dome. Got the clock tower on this end. You're probably not really supposed to be over here, you know, because trains aren't over here, but there's some questionable things. Like, you know, all around us here. But the building looks fairly legit. I also set it to autumn. We're currently in October. The colors are weird. The northeast of the United States has a very distinct look to it during autumn. And this is just a little too pastel. It's kind of funky looking. Anyway, as we noticed down towards Boston, the embankment did look better than some other routes that had the high embankments, like Southeastern High Speed. There's bits that look absolutely crappy. This looks pretty decent. It does look a bit better. So yeah, I'll just say it looks better than Southeastern High Speed. We'll fly in Providence Station here. Providence. Looks pretty legit. It's got the blue down low, which is, you know, pretty legit. The PIS, you know, they're the same. They still look funky. Let's see. First 11:48, Washington, D.C. on time. Second, third. That seems to work for the most part. That keeps on going down. That is the Northeast Corridor. Keeps on going that away. See how far it'll let me go here. Well, I'm surprised it'll let us go this far. It actually looks alright down here. But yeah, we can't go that way. That's south. We're going north. So, ACS 64 and AM Fleet. That's what we got here. Again, these were in Train Sim World 2020, and people were not happy with these not coming along with the Northeast Corridor around New York City to Train Sim World 2. But we got them again. From what I know, they're essentially the same. They revamped some stuff slightly. But we'll pay attention to the sounds a bit more. It is crowded, man. This station's got a ton of people. I'm seeing a lot of the same jackets. In fact, I think I have a jacket just like that. Take a look at the ACS. Now this should be totally different, right? It's an electric loco. The F40, the Dash 3 diesel, obviously. This is the workhorse of the Northeast Corridor right here. So, we're going to see what we can do here. Now, I did not do the tutorial for this. I vaguely remember how to operate this thing. I do know that you could go back in here, which was always pretty cool. There's our switches. Do any of these work? HEP selector feed through. Pantograph rear, machine room lights on. Those work. I think that's pretty much it. I don't know if any of these toggles work. Amtrak. The doors sound the same to me as they did before. Alright, anyway. Let's say we're going to turn every darn thing on here, because Northeast Corridor and Train Sim World 2020 had some issues with ATC and ACSES and signaling. They didn't always work right. Now, I am not a master at this, but we're going to try it anyway. So that is all on. All these, what I just did, are your safety systems. So if you want everything, the whole kit and caboodle, pop all those bad boys on. Alright, we'll go ahead and unlock the doors. What are we, left side? Indeed. Unlock left. Now that's weird. The screens, watch. Out, in, blank, lit. I believe they do that to save processing power and memory, because if you're outside of the train, it's not really important to see the screens, right? Because you're outside of the train. So essentially, every AI train you see will not have those. It's going to use as little processing power and memory for the game in your system as possible. So it takes a minute for those to load back in. So that's why that happens. Let's see. Cab light, desk lights, those still work, look the same. MCB is closed. I think we're ready to roll. I think we're already set up here. Front headlight dim. Oh wait, we got to put the reverser in. Set it in neutral. There we go. So those are dim. That's a very bright dim, I must say. And those are bright, which essentially look the same. Ditch lights, now you can leave those off, on, or flashing. We'll just set them to on. The lights, I feel like they look different. The headlights look different. I don't know. They seem different. They certainly seem different than Train Sim World 2020. Alright, wiper. Let's make sure we got everything. So we got a limited to a 30 right now, presently. There's quite a few things you could do with this. You can change the brightness, the contrast as well. Day and night. You got all your power and brake readout over here. Alright, we'll just try and get on with it. Got it set forwards. And the horn. That's a decent horn, I gotta say. That is a decent horn. It's loud, it's girthy. Sounds like it's got some hair on its chest. I feel like it's better than the F40 by a long shot. It doesn't really seem to have a loop. It is just kind of one flat sound, and it just ends abruptly. Bell sounds like a bell. Not really into bells, honestly. So yeah, sounds alright. Let's take off here. See what this son of a gun sounds like with the inverters. Do we have the brakes on? What did I break? Did I break something? You'll be going nowhere. Yeah, we're stuck. We're stuck, man. Alright, we got it forwards. Idle. What am I forgetting here? God, it's been so long since I've operated one of these from Train Sim World 2020. Assuming you got to cut the brakes in, right? What the heck am I missing here? This is why tutorials exist, guys. It's just the regulator. Oh, okay, yep. We got to set it up. That's what it is. Completely forgot about that. So I just heard the pump. That sounded pretty decent. That's new. I don't think that was in Train Sim World 2020. Alright, let's get a little juice. Let's open both windows. Oh. Sounded pretty decent. Remember the one from 2020 had like no sounds. They were just like filler, like nothing there. So we're going all the way to Route 128, which is also, I believe, University Boulevard, I think it's called. Not Boulevard. Did I just say Boulevard? I think it's Park. Alright, so we're speeding. Head out works. Second side works. Get all those. The good looking loco, man. I always thought these looked amazing. There's your horn. Trying to just see what the sounds are like. The clatter in the flange and the joints and whatnot. Bit of exterior electric sound. Sounds alright. Do a brake application. Yeah, so far so decent with the sounds. Now, we are leaving Providence. It's not a huge city. It's not as big as Boston, for those unawares. That's it back yonder. It's still a pretty good sized city, though. There's not much out this way. There's going to be a yard up here. Not too far. Let's get the brakes off. I left them on. There we is. Let's see. The tails are actually lit, so that's good. Another line branching off that way. A little spur. Yeah, this is it right here. So yeah, this is a Csx Freight Yard down here, if I'm not mistaken. So it's filled with good old DTGX tankers. Got a couple coal guns, some box cars. So that's nice. I'll give them that. You know, they filled it with what should be there, instead of just leaving it blank. You know, how crummy would that have been? There goes the alerter. So that's pretty decent, I guess. Now it'd be nice. Oh, there's the engines. No, shnikes. A couple of 38s. Okay, well. Because as I mentioned earlier, if you caught it, there are local freights around here that run up and down. So, that'd be cool to be able to do something like that, you know? A little bit of dual action. This yard does not look great. Like, looking at the texturing on the ground, something looks really weird with that. Like, look at that. It's like slashes. That don't look good. Self-storage facility. More gondolas. It's a pretty good sized yard, I think. I see another Jeep up here as well. A pair. Alright, I did not know that. Like I said, I don't hang on every word, you know, from Dovetail in their live streams, but I have seen moments of some of them, and I don't recall seeing the actual engines. I do recall seeing the freight cars. So that's pretty neat. I hope, man, I hope they let us do something with that. Anyway, I think this is Reedville Yard. I think it's CSX's Reedville Yard. Get back in the train. Because Reedville Station shouldn't be too far from up here, I believe. Oh wait, no, that's not Reedville. Is it Reedville? No. Hold on a minute. Maybe Canton. Like I said, I don't know this area terribly well. Signals look pretty good. I gotta say, the sounds are pretty decent in this thing now. I mean, aside from like the Caltrain stuff back in Trains from World 2020 before it got bludgeoned to death with with whatever happened when they moved it to Trains in World 2, this is probably some of the best sounds that's come default with any American stock. There's quite a bit of stuff over there, and you know, shockingly, I'm getting some pretty decent frames. I'm getting like 50 right now. You know, with you know, in terms of what tanks performance in Train Sim World, with like all the locomotives, and we're speeding, and the rolling stock back there, I'm surprised. Those sounds are new too. The Train Sim World 2 did not have those sounds for the ATC and the safety systems. I think. I don't remember those. Like they were the same sounds, they just didn't sound like that. You know, I just screwed the pooch. Traction blocked. I was speeding too long. That's what happens. ACSES. Don't care. It'll do you like that. But we can listen to this thing ramping up here. And we'll do an Am Fleet roll by. A little quiet. Ooh. I mean, they are better overall. I'll give them that. Let's check out this underpass here. These lights are blue. Very blue. I mean, most of this looks pretty decent. Got some tagging. Some youth displaying their urban art work. Yikes. Alright, let's just stay in here for now, shall we? Banking off to the right. Let's see, we're cleared to 60. Give it a little bit of juice. Nice bridge over the river. The river? Looks alright. It's pretty green down here. I mean, in Greater Providence, it's, you know, it's built up a little bit, but, like an old bridge right there. It's not near as built up as Boston, per se, but, we'll get out of the Greater Providence area, and it's more green and all natural. Alright, we are clear for 125. I said Reedville Yard. That was not Reedville Yard back there. Reedville Yard's up by Boston. What the heck yard is that? Maybe it's part of the Providence and Worcester. Yeesh. Alright, this is South Attleborough. Attleborough. This looks like garbage. It's not very nice. I mean, it looks decent. It looks like it does around here. It's fairly industrial. There's some large buildings around here. Of course, the next station, I believe, is Attleborough. Got quite a few bridges. Now, some of the embankments I feel like are still questionable with like the coloring and bits of grass and stuff. Getting that horrible pop in. Be a landfill or something. Yeesh. It could just... Oh, we're getting the alerter. Shnikes, we got a break. It could mainly be because I have it set to like autumn, right? So it's just not looking very good. Let's get back in the train. Another yard. I mean, the line itself, you know, which is a majority of the time what you're going to be doing is not flying around with your free cam. Is this right here, and it looks, you know, it looks pretty decent. The line itself, I gotta say, I mean... So that might have been Providence and Worcester, which is a Genesian, Wyoming subsidiary, and I think there's a switch with CSX down there. I genuinely don't know the name of that yard. It's gonna bug the heck out of me. If you know, please let me know in the comments. Let's take a look at the map here. The Mapersky. Alright. We're getting close, fairly close to where the game crashed not too long ago. This here's Attleborough. The stations look good. I gotta give it to them. I've seen a couple of these stations and they look pretty legit. You know, they're kind of like, I'm seeing a lot of those guys with that friggin' jacket. A little spur running off that way. It's kind of a neat area in the fact that, you know, it's almost like the Peninsula Corridor, where each station had its own, like, identity, if you will. It had its own look. Because a lot of the Northeast Corridor in itself does not look like that. They're just bare concrete, you know, embanked platforms that don't look like a whole lot. The wheel rattle and clatter on the M fleets don't sound terrible. I mean, that it genuinely does. I think that sounds alright. This is kind of weird through here, this high embanked stuff. But look at the procedural grass. I feel like that's one of the downfalls with this and going this fast in this thing, that, you know, it's having a hard time keeping up with your locomotive and your train at speed. And there are INI settings you can do to fix stuff like that. But as far as I know, you can't use them right now because it crashed the game, because it was happening to me. So you're kind of stuck with default settings, unfortunately, for the moment. I do like the pretty heavily forested area through here. I think it'd probably look best in a fog or haze or just summer. Autumn and winter, I just never thought they looked good in Train Sim World. Not a very good look. Wow, that pop-in grass, man. That's an immersion killer. More cars. See all these little branches, these spurs? All those little branches and spurs are freight. So they could definitely mix that in here. And I wish they would. Mansfield. Got that high fence in between. They all look unique, man. I mean, they did an alright job. The American flag, stars and stripes. Old Glory waving in the background. Even these little special platforms here. I mean, they did an alright job there. It's kind of weird, those rocks laying right there. Awkward. But yeah, this is all part of like the daily. There's another loco right there for you. It's all part of like the daily locals that go on out here. So I mean, that's just extra layering that could have been done just to add a bit more variety. There's some more right there on the right. Man, that neon green grass. Huh. Huh. There's the alerter. We just got smacked by the alerter. Do a full brake application. Yeah, so it's, you know, it's just green, it's woody out here. It's not a whole lot in between the two cities. I mean, there's still stuff, but it's definitely a lot less urban. Several parks, game preserves, things like that. Nature preserves. Some nice places too. It's beautiful land out here. It's kind of hilly. It's not mountainous, but it's, you know, it's definitely hilly. There's our Troyne. Alright, let's see where we're at here. Alright, so where did we get... Alright, so I think I'll leave it here. I think we covered the ACS pretty well, especially on how to get emergency stopped. So I'll cut it right here, and then what we're going to do is hop over on the Stoughton Branch, and we'll take the Stoughton Branch up north to the bit that we missed when the game crashed. So right back. Alright, so this is Stoughton. We are in the CTC3, the cab car, and we've got an F40 that's going to push us. We are down at the end of Stoughton, and this train would take us north, back onto the northeast corridor, up to Boston. So we're going to check this out. I've been wanting to check this little branch line out here. See what it's all about. So let's see. We got the platform on the right. Go ahead and open the doors if we can. Get set up here. Engine field on. Engine run on. EP brake on. Let's see. Get the reverser key in. Did it just disappear? Put it in neutral. There we go. Xander, put the headlights on dim. See what we can mess with here. Marker lights on. See what that looks like. They are on. Turn it back off. Oh, what's that? Cab lights. I feel like this cab car was done pretty well. I really do. I think the interior of this thing was better than the interior of the F40, if I'm honest. We're gonna cut in our breakers. Man, that is loud. Our train control. Lock the doors. Frick, that's loud, man. Alright, so we got the train number on the side, and I gotta add as well. That looks pretty nice. The coloring through there, it's hard to see because it's so bright right here, but that looks legit. It looks old, you know, where the bulb back there doesn't really flesh out the entirety of the number or the plate. So let's see. Check out the map. We are down on the Stoughton Branch, and it actually continues back down this way. It's just MBTA doesn't run any farther. It runs right here, and that's it. So let's check out this station. Again, the station looks decent. I mean, it's pretty much what it looks like. Nice old station. Got the clock tower. Are there... What is it with them and not adding friggin' hour, minute, and second hands? I've seen that here and Train Simulator so many times. I don't get it. You know, at least if they had them static, you know. There's the high platform, so that continues on that way. This is where the trains would obviously run around if needed or pass. That... I think there's a gigantic lake right there. It's called like Lake Masagaga, Masagaga, or something like that. It's Massa something, old native name, I believe. But anyway, it's it looks pretty good out here so far. It's just variety, you know, something different. All right, let's go on down the line here. Now that's a damn good horn. I haven't heard that until right now. I never heard that on any of the bits of the official streams I watched. Dang, that sounds better than the F40 horn too. Me likey. That noise got something to do with the train control. It's funky. And that sucker's way up there too, man. It's hard to see. Gonna open the door. Yeah, this door will slide back and forth as well. Both doors should. It's locked. I wonder if you can unlock it. Feels totally different out here. The bells, those bells are actually nice on the crossing arms. Now, I don't think the arms work. We'll go back there and listen. I feel like that's been a thing for, well, ever since Train Sim World 2. Something to do with game memory and consoles or something. Sadly. Well, color me intrigued. What the F? They work. I just ate my words with some humble pie. Wow, they work. I did not know that. That's pretty cool. GG. It looks nice through here. It does look a little bit bare under the trees and alongside the line. Like, it's just that really clean line side look that I hate. Whether it's here or Train Sim Classic, I'm not a fan of that really clean right-away look. Alright, we got another crossing. I cannot believe those work. I thought they weren't gonna... Maybe it's just a sand patch grade thing? I thought they weren't gonna, like, bother with them or something. And I'm getting really good frames out here, too. I mean, as you should. There's not a whole lot going on out here. It's pegged at 60, which is what I've got it capped at. But I feel like it does look really nice in here. I like the coloring on all the lights. That gauge right there looks really fantastic. Oh, that bell works. Another crossing. You even got the air hiss with the horn. And see here again, these box cars, this is what I'm talking about. There are daily locals, freight locals, that work the Stoughton Branch and the South Line between that interchange down there with the Providence and Worcester. Man, if we had freight on this, like, it'd be so much better. It really would. But it's nice out here. It's nice and green. It feels totally different. It's hard to believe that it's surrounded by two massive cities, Boston one side, Providence the other. You know, you just kind of feel out in the boonies. So our stop is Canton Center. That's Canton Junction, which is a pretty large and important area. Canton. I think there's a couple of yards up there as well. Canton Junction. That's a good sounding horn. That's probably the best sounding horn out of all these drivable pieces of rolling stock so far. I mean, the ACS 64 sounds pretty good, but that one, I like it. I like it. Oh, big old weed just grew right out of the middle of the track. That was weird. I think the rolling sound is nice. It could be a little bit louder. I feel like that's always the thing with Transit World is their overall mixing. You know, it's never that great. But it's not too shabby. Now, I did notice at the rear we didn't have any markers on. So just like with gonna bounce in here a little bit. Just like with Peninsula Corridor and all that, they didn't come on by default. You actually had to go back there and turn them on. Which is, we'll try that once we get up to Canton here. Little bridge. But these cars look alright. I mean, yeah. I feel like the coloring's a little bit off. The shape looks, you know, is similar as similar can be as far as I can tell for the most part. I'm sure any hardcore Northeast Corridor foamer will tell you otherwise. But you know, they look essentially, if it's like shrunk down and measured, you know, it probably won't pair up. But they look fairly similar to how they do in real life. So this is Canton Center. This is the only other station on the Stoughton Branch right here, I think. And then right up the line there is the Northeast Corridor. Go ahead and open the doors, and we'll hop back. Okay, maybe not. There we go. Let's see where the marker's gonna be. Alright, now they're on. So yeah, that's all you gotta do is just hop back there and turn them on. We'll go back to the front. Check out the maps to see we're right here. Right by the NEC. What the hell that means? I guess that denotes a crossing. I've never seen that. That must be new. But there's Canton Junction. Lock the doors. So if you made it this far in the video, thank you and welcome once again. You know, for just having a brief look at it, which probably going on about 2 hours now, all the videos mixed together. It seems alright. I feel like the addition of actual decent sounds, you know, save this route. The operations are nice. It's nice having some variety between the Amtrak regionals and, you know, the MBTA. They need to fix the services with the balloon loop. They need to give us some freight stuff that we can use on the numerous branches and spurs and yards. There's like 3 or 4 yards that we could use on this. You know, the physics feel pretty good, you know, for Transit World 2, which, you know, ain't nothing to snuff, you know, as far as I'm concerned, because they're not always the best. The length of the route is always the same. You know, it's pretty much always going to be like that in Train Sim World. And the developers say that oh yes, they can make longer routes, but it would take longer and a lot more money. Whatever. You know, this is pretty much, I think, what we're going to get now. So we're pretty much stuck with it. But it doesn't feel too short, you know, the fact that you've got this stopper. If it was just the Amtrak stuff, it would be way short. You know, of course, like I said, the sounds do help it immensely. You know, some of the scenery looks really good. Some of it looks just completely unfinished and almost, speaking of, what on earth are these? Is that supposed to be like that? Some of the scenery seems unfinished, like it's just got the copy-paste automated stuff, you know what I mean? But, you know, other parts like the stations look really good, and the, just the stuff around the stations, you know, the handrails and the boards and the trash cans and, you know, things like that look pretty good. I mean, it's pretty decent. So far from what I've seen, you know, I'd give it like a solid, you know, just because of the crashes and not having freight when we could have had freight, I'd give it easily like a 7 out of 10 right now, probably. I mean, it's pretty decent. It's about darn time we got a nice, you know, varied American commuter route, you know. Caltrain was cool, but it's Caltrain. It was like the same thing, you know. At least here it's Amtrak and MBTA and CSX. So it's got a lot of variety. But this is pretty much where we stopped when the game crashed. We were a little bit up the way that way. But this right here, so you would go on down to the Stoughton Branch that way, and then that way would take down to Providence. And oh look, we got an ACS. Now, as far as like the safety systems, I of course haven't done a full run with that yet to really test them, you know, and things like that. But they seem pretty legit. We'll go ahead and take a look at the menu. Let's see, what is full map? So they changed the UI, as you noticed. You know, if you've been up to date with their stuff. I feel like a lot of it was unnecessarily changed. Whatever. Oh, wait. Here you go. Okay. So if you click the map up here, not just hitting, you know, map in the game, it is named. Okay. About damn time. Very nice. Yeah, I said Reedville to the south. It's way up north. I don't know why I said that. Southampton South Yard is right, well, by South Station, so it's Pawtucket. Yeah, that's got to be the Providence of Worcester down there by Providence. That's that big freight yard down there. So that's cool that it is named. I feel like that's one of the things they always neglected, you know, like the old Train Sim stuff. We'll go to the menu and check that out. So, you know, obviously it looks different here. Tools going to be the same. Scenario planner, livery designer, explorer. Let's see. Still got one training to do. The timetables, so 186 services. The cab car should essentially be the same as the F40 services, you know, because they got to go back where they came from. So it's going to be the same amount. So it seems, you know, it seems pretty girthy. I'm hoping a lot of these are different, you know, and have different station stops. Because, for example, like the Stoughton line, it's not going to stop at a lot of the stations in between. It'll stop at like a couple of larger intermediate stations, and the ones that go all the way to Providence, so on and so forth. So, you know, they seem like they got a bit of variety, but they need to give us some freight and give us the balloon loop. But I hope I have somewhat covered it. I tried to as well as I could. It as much as I could at once. I know it's a bit lengthy video, and people only love 5-minute videos on YouTube. But I do appreciate you taking the time to watch. If you made it this far, thank you once again. And there will be more videos in the coming weeks as far as just operations and other things like that, so stay tuned. But that's it, guys. I shall see you next time. Take care.